Hey there, so we're going to talk about Mizuna now. And Mizuna is a word that essentially it's a Japanese word. It refers to a kind of mustard green, but it's an Asian variety that has a slightly different flavor profile. When I was living in Tokyo before, you used to be able to get Mizuna, probably about that size, green Mizuna from the store, and it was sold right alongside all kinds of other things. So a very normal thing to buy in your daily shop there. In the West, it's a little bit less of a familiar product for us, but chefs are using it a lot. In a city like New York, where you've got a lot of different cultural influences, this kind of product is really, really popular. So I've got two different kinds of micro Mizuna in front of me. This is called a red streak, and then this is called a Miz America. So M-I-Z instead of M-I-S-S. Some of these names of these crops, they're named by farmers or seed developers, and they kind of come up with their own things. So what I want to talk about is, well, firstly, reminding what's a microgreen. So a microgreen is something really that's just a very young plant. And you'll see in front of me, this guy is a little bit older. It's showing slightly more mature growth. And this is really, really young. And my guess is, and I'll check, yeah, this is about 10 days old, maybe 7, 8 days old. And this is something that's going to be more like 2 weeks or so. And so you'll notice that this one, the leaves on this are going to be a little bit more developed, and it's going to indicate a little bit more of what the mature plant will look like. So Mizuna, of whatever size you get it, once it's slightly mature, it's going to have some little serrated edge leaves, and often, going back to that time in Japan, the stem would actually be quite long, and then the leaf on top of that with a jagged edge around it. And so this Miz America is starting to display some of that characteristic as well. Whereas what you're seeing here on the younger variety, this red streak, is obviously shorter stem. It's a young plant. But what you're seeing is only really the cotyledons, the first couple of leaves that come out of the seed. And this is one of the reasons why people talk about microgreens as being a very nutritious kind of food to eat, is because there's nutrients in that seed. Like, you might know this, but actually to get a seed to sprout, you don't need to give it any nutrition. You can just sprout it with water because there's nutrients in that seed. And so, there's been a lot of testing, and there probably needs to be a lot more, but some of these studies tend to indicate that there's really, really good nutrition from microgreens. Certainly, as part of a diet, they're really something that is not going to have any problem eating these things, and they're pretty good for you. So that's a great thing. In terms of flavor, now chefs, they like micros because they tend to pack some really good flavor in a very small package. What you're going to get from a Mizuna is going to be kind of that mustardy type of flavor, a little bit of spice to them, but not overpowering at all. So, yeah, that's really good. So I'm getting some real spice off that, but it's light. It's something that's going to go and then disappear again. So in terms of using this, you could make a salad entirely of something like this. If you paired it with a dressing that maybe had a little bit of freshness to it, more acid than oil, maybe more lemon juice than maybe an olive oil or something, you would have a pretty nice, quite spicy salad. I'd recommend mixing it. Sorry, there we go. Got it. I'd recommend mixing it with maybe some other leaves as well, so you get a bit of a mixture. But also, you could easily use this to garnish on top of something heavier like a protein. Maybe a tofu or a meat would work well to bring spice to some mushrooms as well. Obviously, because this is a Japanese style of mustard, you might want to try something on a Japanese type dish. That would be pretty fun. Also, we've seen it used pretty well in a cocktail. So, if you have a cocktail with more herbaceous notes to it, maybe a gin, maybe paired with something that was a little bit more of a savory type cocktail, something spicy like this can work really, really well. So, two kinds of Mizuna here. There's a bunch of others as well. This is a red streak Mizuna, and this is a Miz America.